All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a theory that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, but you'll see, has a surprising amount of science behind it. We're talking about Panspermia, the incredible idea that life on Earth actually came from outer space. You know, it's the biggest question there is, right? Our own origin story. Did that first spark of life happen right here on our planet? Maybe in some warm little pond? Or was it an immigrant? Did it arrive here from the vast, dark emptiness of space? This is the fundamental question, and it really boils down to two big ideas. So on one side, you've got abiogenesis. That's the idea that life just sort of emerged from non-living chemicals right here on Earth. And on the other side, we've got panspermia, the hypothesis that says life is basically all over the universe, and it got delivered to our world. It's the ultimate homegrown versus imported debate. But here's something we really need to get straight before we go any further. Panspermia, which literally means all seeds in Greek, it's not trying to explain how life first began anywhere in the universe, not at all. It just proposes that life is already out there, and it travels. So it doesn't solve that ultimate mystery of creation, it just kind of relocates the crime scene to somewhere else in the cosmos. Okay, so if life was delivered, how in the world would that even work? I mean, for a long time, this was just pure speculation. But recently, a surprising amount of evidence has started to pile up, turning this wild idea into a real testable hypothesis. To really make the case, you kind of have to prove three things. You can think of them as three pillars holding this whole theory up. First, you need the ingredients for life out there. Second, you need a way for life to actually survive the journey. And third, you need a safe place for it to land. So let's take a look at these three pillars one by one. Pillar number one is all about the ingredients. You know, the basic building blocks of life, like amino acids. Are they unique to Earth? For the longest time, we kind of thought so. But the answer, we now know, is a big resounding no. And the proof literally came crashing down to Earth. Over 90. Just let that number sink in. That's how many different kinds of amino acids were discovered inside this famous meteorite that fell in Murchison, Australia. Now, why is that so mind-blowing? Well, get this. All life on Earth, everything from a microbe to a blue whale, we only use about 20. The rest of them, the vast majority, are totally alien to our biology. That's just stunning proof that they had to have formed out there, in space. And look, Murchison wasn't some one-off fluke. When we look at other meteorites like Orgueil, they have different chemical fingerprints. That tells us they came from totally different parent bodies. It's like there are all these different cosmic laboratories out there, all cooking up the ingredients for life. Space, it seems, is a way more productive chemical factory than we ever imagined. Okay, so the building blocks are out there, cool, but that's a huge leap from ingredients to actual living organisms surviving a trip through the cosmos, right? For decades, this was seen as the killer problem, the fatal flaw of panspermia. But then we started discovering some of nature's toughest little astronauts right here on Earth. Say hello to Deinococcus radiodurans. It's so tough, it earned the nickname Conan the Bacterium. I mean, what a name, right? In experiments on the International Space Station, they found that little clumps of these guys could survive for 3 whole years in the vacuum of space. The outer layers would die and form this kind of protective crust for all the cells huddled inside. Incredible. And then, of course, there are the undisputed heavyweight champions of survival. Tardigrades. You might know them as water bears. These microscopic critters are almost indestructible. You can freeze them to nearly absolute zero, boil them, blast them with deadly radiation, expose them to the pure vacuum of space, and when you add a little water back, they just stretch and carry on. It proves that life is way tougher than we ever gave it credit for. All right, so we've got the ingredients. Check. We've got creatures tough enough for the trip. Check. But none of that matters if there's nowhere to go, right? You need that final pillar, a safe harbor, a habitable world where life, if it arrives, can actually set up shop and thrive. We used to think Earth was this lonely little oasis, but not anymore. We know ancient Mars had rivers, lakes, maybe even an ocean. We're pretty sure Jupiter's moon Europa has a warm, salty ocean under its ice shell that's bigger than all of Earth's oceans combined. And Saturn's moon Enceladus, wow, it's literally spraying its own subsurface ocean packed with complex organic molecules out into space. Our solar system is suddenly looking full of potential real estate.
So the case seems pretty strong, doesn't it? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. It is not a done deal. Because any tiny microbe trying to make this interstellar trip would have to survive, well, a total nightmare. Think of it as a cosmic gauntlet.
First up, ejection. You have to survive being violently blasted off your home world by a massive asteroid impact. Then, transit. You're just floating in the void for maybe millions of years, getting zapped by cosmic radiation. And finally, if you make it that far, impact. You've got to survive a blazing hot plunge through a new atmosphere and a crash landing. I mean, each one of these stages is just a brutal filter. Just 0.02%. That's the survival rate from experiments that try to simulate the shock of being blasted off a planet like Mars. The odds seem impossible, right? But, and this is the absolute key, a single gram of rock can contain billions of microbes. So yeah, the percentage is tiny, but when you have that many lottery tickets, somebody's probably gonna win. Some could definitely make it. Now, for a bit of balance, let's look at the mainstream competitor. The theory that says we don't need a cosmic delivery service at all, because life started right here at home. Let's talk about abiogenesis. The classic proof of concept here is the Miller-Urey experiment, way back in 1952. They basically took a flask of simple gases, what they thought early Earth's atmosphere was like, zapped it with electric sparks to mimic lightning, and just waited. And guess what? Within a week, the water turned this brownish color, and it was chock full of amino acids. Boom. It showed that the building blocks of life could form naturally, right here on Earth. But okay, going from simple chemicals to actual self-replicating life, that's the really hard part. It's that classic chicken and egg problem, isn't it? You need DNA to make proteins, but you need proteins to make DNA. So, which came first? The leading theory, called the RNA world, is so clever. It says the answer is neither. It suggests that early life used a much simpler molecule, RNA, which could do both jobs. It could store information, and it could act as an enzyme to build things. It's a really elegant solution to life's first great puzzle. So where does that leave us? We have two really compelling but still incomplete stories. One has evidence for the journey, but not the ultimate origin. The other has a plausible origin story, but one that's really hard to prove happened. So why does untangling all this matter so much? Because the answer might not be either or. In fact, a really beautiful synthesis is emerging that kind of combines both ideas. In this hybrid model, space acts as the cosmic grocery store, delivering all the raw ingredients via meteorites. But Earth acts as the kitchen, providing that perfect, stable environment for those ingredients to finally be cooked up into life. And this isn't just a thought experiment. This search is happening right now. We have these incredible missions in the works. The Mars Sample Return mission aims to bring back the first pristine Martian rocks for us to study. The Europa Clipper is going to fly by and basically taste the ocean of an icy moon. And the Dragonfly drone will actually fly through the organic-rich atmosphere of Titan. We are right on the verge of some major discoveries. And this is why the search for our own beginning is now completely tied to the exploration of space. It all leads to this one final truly mind-bending question. If we do find life on Mars, and we discover that it shares our DNA, are we meeting aliens, or are we meeting our long-lost family?